When I was a kid, my family had one of those big, clunky VHS camcorders, and last year my dad had a bunch of the tapes digitized. The earliest footage I found was from my older sister learning karate in Willimantic, Connecticut in 1988. There are some great stories in these tapes, the easiest of which to tell was that of our Grand Canyon trip. It was edited almost entirely in camera by my mother with great commitment to production value. I'll put a link to it so you can check it out. But the harder stories to tell are the ones made up of bits and pieces. This year is my first Christmas away from my family, so it seems fitting to tell a story about that now. Christmas mornings, we were allowed to get up as soon as it was light outside and then eat breakfast after all the presents had been opened. In 1990, the big deal on Christmas morning was the new waffle iron. Technically, I think it was given to my older brother, but my dad showed us all how to use it by making breakfast.
Notice how I carefully fill the little cracks here with the waffle batter. Oh, how waffle. Okay. And then we close the lid carefully until we get a sizzling sound. Look at it puff up here. Look at this. Ooh, what a mess we're making. That's not allowed. Actually, the reason for this is that I've overloaded the waffle iron, as you can see.
Well, that's a big waffle.
Waffly big.
Yeah.
There you go. You can cut it in half and share it with your sister if you wish.
How are they?
Good.
Are they delicious?
Mm-hmm.
Here's our cat Fido waiting for Santa in 1991 at the house I grew up in Ashford, Connecticut. His brother Rex always made that gurgly noise, and they both lived well into their teenage years. That year, my brother and I got new desks, and the family got a new VCR.
VCR with 4 heads.
A new VCR? Wow!
That's mine.
In 1992, I got my first bicycle, and Santa brought us our first computer, an IBM PS2. Oh man, did I spend a lot of time playing shareware games and dialing into BBSs on that thing. But in 1993, my belief in Santa came into doubt. I thought if Santa were real, he'd read my list and deliver my request. No parents required. Little did I know, my parents were mounting a panic attack to discover the list's contents. And the next year, my dad wrote a story about it for the newspaper where he worked. I didn't find out the truth about all this until sometime later, when I found the news clipping hidden away in the piano bench next to the sheet music. There were 2.5 shopping days left when we got the news. The Christmas gift list our 8-year-old daughter Rebecca had shown us, the one we'd been shopping from for weeks, was a fake. The real list, we learned, had been hidden away, for Santa's eyes only on Christmas Eve. We were being tested, of course. More correctly, the existence of Santa Claus was being tested, and it looked like his days were numbered at our house. We had only learned of the Santa list by accident. Our older daughter Amanda had picked up a reference to it in casual conversation with Becky. As is her manner, Mandy didn't react much at the time, but she reported to us anyway, maybe just to see how much our eyeballs would enlarge. When our panic subsided, my wife Betty and I realized we had to find the list and buy something on it. It was the only way Santa could be saved. So with the stealth of a CIA covert mission, the search began. With Amanda as an accomplice, Becky was diverted to another part of the house, while her mother methodically combed the chaos of her room. The search was fruitless, not counting the diary my wife discovered between the box spring and mattress of Becky's bed. Most of its contents were of no consequence, Betty said. But the last entry, from sometime in July, was disturbing. I know there is no Easter Bunny or Tooth Fairy, our daughter wrote. Hope for Santa was fading fast. Clearly, we needed more intelligence, either as to the whereabouts of the Christmas list or some hint about its contents. We went to bed December 23rd, plotting a last-ditch and admittedly desperate approach. In the morning, we would ask our daughter herself. At breakfast, as I was preparing her bagel, I casually began the interrogation. So, Becky, do you think Santa will bring you any of the stuff on your list? I don't know, she said. Where is that list anyway? I prodded. I haven't seen it around. It's hidden, she said, nibbling up to the bagel's crust. Can I see it? I asked nonchalantly, rattling my cereal into a bowl. No. That was it. Hope was gone. I went to work thinking Santa R.I.P. Fortunately, my wife was more stubborn. While Becky was at school, Betty renewed her invasion of our youngsters' privacy. My work phone rang. I found the list, she reported. Oh, that's great, I said. My spirits lifted instantly. Home free, Santa could live. She only wants one thing. What? I asked, even more relieved. A hamster. Doomed. There are a lot of things I will do in the spirit of the season. I will stand in biting wind, toes numb, saw in hand, waiting while my wife examines and rejects the first 14 perfectly good Christmas trees until selecting one to cut. I will endure multiple and expensive trips to the mall, even on Saturdays. But I will not have another live animal in our house, not to go with the ill-mannered dog, the 2 cats, and 15 tropical fish. But I discovered there yet remained hope, like the smoldering ember of a snuffed candle wick. Becky's list had a codicil, a generous one, I thought. Please, Santa, she wrote, don't forget gifts for Abby, the aforementioned dog, and Fido and Rex, our cats. On my way home from work, I stopped off at the grocery store, picking up the appropriate snacks and rubber bones. Into the stockings they went on Christmas Eve, not far from the jolly old elf's emptied eggnog mug and his handwritten apology to his 8-year-old fan. Dear Becky, Santa wrote, here are the treats for your cats and dog. I'm sorry, but federal regulations prohibit me from giving hamsters and other live animals as gifts. I hope you like the other things I brought for you. Merry Christmas to you and your family. The next morning the list was gone, but the letter of apology was in its place as Becky merrily tore her packages apart. Not another word on the subject was said. Santa lives. I grew up a lot after reading this story. I stopped writing in my diary. If I remember correctly, I was satiated when Mom and Dad offered me the money that they got from writing the article. I don't know why parents teach their kids to believe in Santa. For me, the realization was a shock to the system that made me realize my parents work hard to surprise and delight me. This year, I'm celebrating the holiday season with my chosen family, but to all my family this Christmas, I want to say I love you and I hope to see you soon.